Okay, so what I want to do in this very short video is just to describe to you what's going on. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take some conditional formatting and vertical lookups and actually apply them to our college spreadsheet. And the point is to start helping you make some decisions about your colleges using your spreadsheet. To kind of teach you the skills of using spreadsheets and at the same time have it be something that's useful for you. All right, so first things first. If I look at my rubric, I'm going to create a cell in your college spreadsheet that you will provide an input for your SAT or ACT math and or English score. You choose. So I have my college spreadsheet open right here, okay? And as you notice, if I go down, I have a place right here. I'm just going to put borders around it. I have my SAT math score, which I've just arbitrarily chosen to be 600. It's right here. All right, so if I go look at my spreadsheet, all right, so if we see what this is asking us to do, the next thing is you're going to have Google Sheets conditionally format the 25th and 75th percentiles in your college spreadsheet according to whether or not your SAT or ACT score is less than, equal to, or greater than the scores for that school. So conditional formatting means just what we talked about in that video. Conditional formatting is the idea that if you, so if I look at my final exam data, this 93 is highlighted yellow on the condition that it's greater than or equal to 90. This 61 is highlighted red on the condition that it's less than 65, which is the passing score. All right, so that's why it's called conditional formatting. It's like you can go to the party on one condition, that you clean your room. These things are highlighted on the conditions. Whoops, sorry about that. These things are highlighted on the conditions that we put on them. So that's what we're going to do in our spreadsheet. So, and I'm not going to really tell you how to do this. I want you to take what you learned in the video and apply. So for example, if I were doing this, I would go to, so my SAT math score was 600. All right, I would go to my SAT 25th percentile, okay, and I would want to highlight this row, this column, according to whether or not my score was better or worse than these scores. And the same thing for my SAT math 75th percentile, which is here in my spreadsheet. So you pick whichever one. If you did ACT math, that's fine. If you did ACT composite, that's fine. If you did SAT reading, I don't care which score that you pick. It doesn't matter really, because it's a customizable spreadsheet to who you are. But what I want is I want to see formatting in both columns, all right, according to conditions, and that's going to be 10 points. Okay. The next part of this is a little bit more complicated. That's why I'm kind of going over it in a video, what you're supposed to do. So you're creating two different vertical lookups. Two different vertical lookups where you specify boundaries and have Google Sheets report back to you with at least 5 categories. In other words, if you remember what we did in our final exam data, was essentially what we did was we created categories for each of the grades. So for example, between a 0 and a 64.5, we categorize that as an F. And between a 79.5 and an 82.5, we categorize that as a B-. And you can use a vertical lookup formula to get Excel to actually give you the proper letter grade. And it's a fairly easy formula to use. So now what you're going to do is you're going to apply that to your spreadsheet in 2 different vertical lookups. So you're picking 2 numerical columns that you will categorize in your data. 2 numerical columns. And here are some ideas that I had. Categorizing the distance of your schools. Close, far, etc. So categorizing the tuition of your schools. Cheap, expensive. Categorizing the acceptance rate. Low, medium, high. Categorizing the size of your school. Small, large. So if I'm looking at my spreadsheet, my college spreadsheet, I would like to categorize, let's see, what could I categorize that I didn't talk about? Let's see. we could categorize, oh, I don't know. Let's do median GPA, all right? So I'm going to insert a column between Q and R, all right? So I'm going to hit column Q, I'll insert one right. Type of GPA, all right? So I'm going to categorize the GPA, all right? So here's what I'm going to do. Somewhere else on the sheet, all right? Somewhere else on the sheet, I'm going to create a little table for myself. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my GPAs on the left and my categories on the right, all right? So I'm looking at my GPAs and I'm saying to myself, all right, 3.27, that's really on the very low end. All right, so I'm going to say maybe 3.3 for me would be very low. And then I'm going to look and just get an idea. All right, that's a very low GPA on my table here. All right, now I'm looking at my next GPA. All right, so I see some 3.5s. So maybe 3.5 is on the lower end. That's my low boundary. Maybe 3.55 or something is low. And my average was 3.61. So I'm going to make 3.65 my average GPA. And then I'm going to look, and I have some 3.66s, 3.88. All right, so I'm going to do 3.75 is high, and 3.85 is very high. So what I've done is I've created at least 5 categories. I want you to create at least 5 categories in this table. You can get creative if you want to, if you feel like you need more categories, but at least 5. And then we're going to do a vertical lookup. So I'm going to type equals VLOOKUP, just to kind of go over this again. I'm searching for what's in the row of Q. So I'm going to hit Q, Q2 in this case, comma. The range is the table that I'm trying to sort. The range, excuse me, is the table I'm looking up. So I'm going to go down to my table, and I'm simply going to highlight that table. Okay, now it's in purple in my formula, and I'm just going to go through and put $ next to my Q in 14 and R in 19 to lock the table, comma. I want the vertical lookup to give me an answer of the second column. See, the GPA is what it's looking up, but the answer that it's going to come back with is in the second column, comma 2. And we talked about the fact that this is actually sorted. It's sorted from low to high. So I'm going to put true for sorted so that it actually gives me a response. Now here, it didn't give me anything meaningful because this GPA wasn't reported. I'm just going to make up a number. I'm going to say 3.54. And now the GPA has come back to me as very low for my scores. And now I can click and drag. And I've now categorized, and I'll just make up a GPA for George Washington just so you can see. 3.9 is very high. And now you can actually see that you've now categorized your GPA according to your criteria. So this is an interesting error. Error says we did not find 3.27 in the VLOOKUP evaluation. Okay. Now the reason for that error is that because we didn't put a lowest boundary in. So for example, if you remember back into the final exam data, we had to have a lowest boundary. This is a good error that I made. We had to have a lowest boundary so that it knew what category to put things in that were lower than 3.3. So here's, I'm actually going to fix this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to put 0 in for very low, 3.3 in for low, 'll actually put 3.61 in for the average because that was our average GPA, or actually 3.63, excuse me. High, I'll leave high and very high the same. And now everything's categorized. Now everything's categorized. So, by the way, the other thing that I should show you is that if you noticed, this formula ended up changing our formatting. That's kind of annoying. So just to avoid that in the future, what we can do is, I'm just going to delete everything in here. I'm going to return it back to our formatting. So these should be in blue. So I'm holding down the command key so I can select all of these at once. And they should be in light blue, not that color. That color. And now, if I want to copy and paste this formula, I can hit Command C. So if you hit the Command and the ski key at the same time, I've copied. And now what I can do is I can select all of my cells to where I want to paste the formula. And what I do is I can go to Edit, and I can go to Paste Special, and just paste the formula only. And that way it actually keeps your formatting. All right? So now you have that formatting in the cells. So you're doing this, you're figuring out whatever classification you want, you're figuring this out for two different categories. So 2 numerical columns. I did 1 numerical column. And that's what it came back as on my VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is a very, very good way of being able to classify information according to a criteria that you set. So again, I want you to go through, pick things that are important to you in your spreadsheet, and you can actually have the spreadsheet report back to you what you're looking for. All right, good job, guys. And I will be around to help you guys with this.